Welcome to another AMA with Kadena Project Network. In this episode, we'll be speaking with the team from KadCars. This conversation was recorded on August 12th, 2022, live on Twitter Spaces. The views and expressions in this AMA do not represent the views of KPN directly and are not to be considered as financial advice. Please make sure to do your own research on the projects presented. Also make sure to follow our account to be alerted of new uploads. Now let's get started. Enjoy. Hello everybody, welcome to another AMA with Kadena Project Network. Today we are going to be speaking to the team from KadCars. Should be a very interesting AMA, so just going to give it a few minutes here, let everyone come on in and settle down, and we'll get started right away. You want to do a little mic check just to make sure everything's working right?
Hey folks, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you quite well. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear. Yeah, this is Omar from KadCars. Yeah, pleasure to be here, man. Very excited. It's the first Spaces in a while. And we have Khalaf from the KadCars account as well.
Awesome.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Yeah, we'll just doing well. So yeah, we'll just give it a few minutes usually. Give her like 2 or 3 minutes for people to work their way in, maybe go spread a couple tweets around, and we'll get started in a bit here.
Awesome.
Khalaf, do you want to tweet out the Spaces invite on our Twitter if you haven't?
I have. It's currently pinned.
Again, nice.
I've sent out some tweets as well, so hopefully we can get some more people in here.
Perfect. And I'm just sending a reminder on Discord.
Welcome everybody for joining in here. Just a little bit of announcement from KPN team here. Today we broke 10,000 followers on Twitter, so big news for us there. And we are also hosting a giveaway right now on our Twitter page for in celebration of the 10K followers, and also in collaboration with Kadena Mining Club. For celebration of their NFT minting, which starts tomorrow. And we're giving away a KD box miner. So make sure you guys go check out our pinned tweet on our Twitter page and enter into that giveaway. Have a chance to win yourself a Kadena miner.
Congrats on 10K, man. Awesome.
Yeah, no, all organic, no bot buying or anything like that. You usually see a lot of projects that, you know, oh, we got like 10, 15,000 followers, but then they have like no tweets and no nothing. And you go and look at all their followers and it's just like, come on, like, I know it only costs a couple $100 to get them, but.
Yeah, when it's not organic, it's useless. You don't benefit from it.
Exactly. No. All you can do then is get clout, you know, of look at me, I have a huge account. But if none of those people are actually going to tweet or follow or do anything, then what's the point?
Yep, exactly. It's wasted money.
Well, it looks like we got a few people joining in now, and I'm sure more will come, but we might as well get things started here. So welcome everybody to another AMA with Kadena Project Network. We are speaking today with the team from KadCars NFT. Very interesting project of car NFTs that are going to be customizable and very interesting, and I'm definitely going to want to hear more about it. So let's just go over quickly where you guys are from, what got you into crypto to begin with. Just kind of a little bit of a rundown of what KadCars is, and just like I say, the 30-second elevator pitch. So go right ahead.
Cool. So my name is Mohammed Khalaf. I'm with my partner today, Omar. We are both from the Middle East. We actually met up in Dubai. We've been more or less childhood friends. We've been following the crypto space for a while. We've been following Kadena for a while. And once we found out what Kadena could do and how it can revolutionize how we interact with NFTs, we knew it was time for us to hop onto the space. We went with cars because we love cars. It's a very relatable environment. Yeah, that's it. And then just a little about the project. It's basically going to be a full ecosystem that allows users to collect cars, customize views and angles on chain, improve the aesthetics of their cars through upgrades, upgrades such as like wheels, colors, and very cool things that we'll discuss during the call. And finally, it's going to allow users to actually get behind the wheel and drive the cat cars.
That sounds very interesting. I know that a lot of people like to have some kind of like usage for their NFTs instead of just holding on to them and having them just sit in your wallet and really do nothing. So hearing something that you're going to be able to actually use your NFT and customize it sounds very interesting. So what made you go with the theme for cars? Are you guys both car aficionados?
Most of the team is, to be honest. Myself, I've actually built a car, a one-man driven race car. It was on a small scale, obviously nothing too insane. And other than that, I play a lot of racing games, a lot of sim racing, and then also like personal life. Like I always just love to look at cars here, where we are, like where I'm based in Dubai. You can pretty much see a hypercar or a supercar every 15 minutes passing by you on the road. So it's kind of something I grew up with.
Yeah, for sure. Over there, supercars are like dime a dozen over there. So
100%.
Definitely very interesting to grow up in that kind of field and be surrounded by that growing up. You're obviously going to be having an interest in them. So what made you decide to start building an NFT series, and specifically what made you decide to build it on Kadena?
Amar, want to take this?
Yes, please. I'd love to. So, okay. First, why a car NFT, right? I mean, we have a team that loves cars, but why is NFT? Because on Kadena, honestly, the use case is perfect, right? Having an NFT that's dynamic on Kadena versus on another platform is very easy. And having an NFT you can interact with cheaply without wasting a lot of gas on Kadena is easy. So you can actually play with your car as an NFT. Why Kadena? Because we got into Kadena through mining first. That's kind of our first intro into Kadena. We still mine Kadena and Flux. And when we kind of heard about Marmalade and what that's offering, and then we went deeper and realized, what Kadena itself and what Pact offers, it's very powerful because you can then do everything you want dynamically on an NFT safely. So like one is Pact lets you build upgradable contracts. So you can build iteratively, right? You don't need to just build your contract once and upload it and you're stuck, right? You need to migrate to a new one. That was one big selling point, I'd say. Another was how Marmalade basically, there's a lot in Marmalade. And I think before I go into it, big shout out to KittyCat there. KittyCat project proposed a few changes to Marmalade recently. And I think those they led to a very deep discussion and very nice outcomes as well. And I think Stuart Popejoy also came on. Thank you to him for his time. But yeah, Marmalade lets us do. But when they talk about like manifests and upgradability, which isn't something they support now, by the way, this is something they plan to support. It's based on the paper by Stuart Haber. But essentially, the upgradability part, letting you encode an entire document like a car into digitally and then upgrade it over time. And through those upgrades, you still have like a secure hash of the document over time. So you can verify that document across the changes, right? That was very powerful because our NFT is so dynamic. You need to upgrade the wheels, you need to upgrade the paint, or you buy a new engine. That use case fits really well with Kadena and what they're trying to do. So yeah, that's kind of why we chose Kadena. We felt like it provided the functionality we needed to do to support the use cases of having like a racing car NFT.
Now, this idea, like you were saying, of the customizable NFTs and being able to go back and update NFTs and change them kind of, without having to do a complete, reissue or anything like that, was actually something we were speaking to the EqualBet team the other night about how they're doing their Kings NFTs, and you're going to be able to upgrade certain features with them. Like on their NFTs, like they're going to get new thrones or new crowns and things like that. So it's kind of the same idea, but with cars, which sounds super interesting to me because I know a lot of people love that idea.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, I was going to just jump in there about the discussion right now on Marmalade. There's kind of two ways to achieve upgrades, right? The first is make a new token to represent the new state. which sounds okay, but like if you're upgrading experience or stats on the document, it doesn't make sense to create a new token. The other is to store that data somewhere else, fragment your data, right? Maybe on the policy level. So you have a manifest on the ledger and then a manifest you store separately. And that's just, I think, at least in my opinion, a horrible approach. And I really hope no one does that. I don't think anyone's going to go with that. The right approach is something that's still going to take time, I think, which is timestamping and, rolling up those hashes. But that's one of the main reasons we're going to fork Marmalade and launch with a fork, is the upgradability is going to take way too long on Marmalade.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. So let's get a little bit deeper into these cars. So when you first start out, is it going to be like you mint like a base car and then you up? How exactly is the upgrade system going to work?
I'm about to tweet one of the images that we have for K2. I'll do that now, actually. And then from there, I guess everyone would be able to have an idea of what a base KadCar NFT would look like. And then from there, we can go into the upgrades. So just give me a second. Hopefully, there we go. So the idea is we want to give everyone like a completed product, not something that's like a blank canvas. And then from there, what we want to do is we want to allow users to customize whatever they see fit on the car. We'd be able to allow users in the future to change the rims, the body color, sometimes even the backgrounds, all while keeping the initially minted NFTs very unique and rare. So we're only going to be minting 1,337 of the K2 model. Our K2 model is an off-roader. So yeah, I hope that explains it. We can go into a little more detail if you like.
No, that makes perfect sense. So people pretty much, this is going to be like the base that you get, and then from there you get to customize them. Now, as far as the customization goes, what is the system? Is there going to be a token or something that's going to govern this upgrade system through your platform, or how exactly will that work for someone who, once they mint this base car, what is their next steps to upgrade?
Yeah, I can jump in here really quickly. So there's really two types of upgrades conceptually. The first is customizing the view of the car. I want to kind of talk about that really quickly because that's a little different. So for that, that's one of the first features we're going to launch, is like your car right now, for example, is pointing in a certain way, right? But our cars are actually 3D models. So you'll be able to like rotate the car or potentially pop the hood or pop the door, right? That's a single-sided upgrade. It will at first not be governed by our token, so we'll launch it initially. You pay the fee in Kadena if there is a fee, and you can modify that view. The final NFT, the final image on the NFT will reflect upgrades you make. Then there's upgrades like adding another NFT like a paint color or a background or whatever. In the future, those will be governed by our token. We did, I think, before say that we were launching a token. We just haven't announced a lot more details there because we want to mint first. But yeah, upgrades will be governed by our token. Essentially, you'll pay the fee in our token to be able to upgrade your CAD car, add a paint job, add a background, even add an animation in. All those, will have a fee in our token.
And then just to jump in here, we are a car project, and that means that you will be able to upgrade your car. You'll be able to improve the performance of your car. And that's one of the coolest things about being able to have like a car project. So users who are racing against other users or just getting behind the wheel of their CAD car would have a say on how the car performs.
Now, when you say get behind the wheel of their CAD cars, is this pretty much saying that there's going to be a game in development, maybe like a Mario Kart type game, where you actually get to use the cars that you've customized through your NFTs in game?
Exactly. So the game design that we're going for is going to be on the realistic end. Mario Kart is more on the arcade end of things. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
Well, when I say Mario Kart, I don't mean necessarily the pixel graphics or anything like
And the
that.
bananas.
I mean more like if you were to put Mario Kart in Unreal Engine 3 kind of thing, like
Yeah.
that kind of more realistic looking. There's another project on the Elron network that through NFTs called Mayar Kart. And it's the same idea. It's like Mario Kart, but more like Unreal Engine. So like the backgrounds are all gorgeous and the vehicles all look great and the tracks look good. So I assume then it's more of along those lines, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, and just to add to the game development, so we already started. What Khalaf's talking about is the game design document. We already hired a Unity developer, and we're going with a second for the game. So like that's already past. We started working on it. Is what I mean to say here. So that's in progress. It will take a while, of course. This isn't something that we're going to build over a couple of weeks, but it's something that we're working on already.
That's awesome to hear. Now, I'm sure a lot of people have this question of funding. A lot of this, video games don't get made for free. Unity developers don't work for free. So as far as funding going, will most of your funding come from the minting of the NFTs, or are you planning on doing any kind of like token IDO?
Yeah, so there'll be a couple of funding sources. One is token IDO. We are planning to with our token. The second is the minting, like you said, but the mint will come first. So we don't want an IDO without having at least our K2 mint out, right, with a product out. So most likely the sequence of events will be that we'll mint, and that will be our initial funding. And then we'll do an IDO, and that's, to secure more funding or second stage funding. Then we have the K1 as well, which we will mint, and that's another, source of funding. Right now, it's all out of pocket. Yeah.
So as far as you say, there's going to be a K1. How many different vehicle types do you guys plan on doing? Just the two so far, and then.
Yeah, so we announced in our latest, I think our second latest Medium article, we're going to have a total of we're going to have K2 first, then K1, and then within the next 3 years we can release a K3, and that's it for the K models. I think on our third anniversary we'll release the K3 or second. Don't quote me on this, but yeah, those three. That's it, and then we'll introduce other car models into our like races and ecosystem, so you can potentially buy another like a an actual car model NFT in future, but those won't have the same benefits as a K car, right? As K1, K2, or K3. It'll be like a real car model, but that's long term.
Well, it's good to hear that you're thinking long term at least. So now, just one more question about doing a token IDO. Would you be interested on doing that through a platform like KD Launch or something, so that you're all covered, your bases are all covered, and you don't have to worry about legalities down the road, since you are considering a long term project?
Yeah, we are definitely planning on launching with one of the platforms on Kadena. It's just too early to see, but yeah, we're definitely going to go with one of the ones on Kadena. I think Kadena has a lot of amazing launch platforms, and those let you they let you be covered, and they let you also plan for it right as well. It's hard to plan for an IDO and validate your planning without the help of a proper launch pad. So we definitely will be going with one.
Awesome. That's good to hear. And I also love to hear that you're not doing IDO first to build up a war chest and then putting out product. You're putting out the initial product first and then looking for the funding, because if people love your initial product, you're going to sell out no problem. Like a 1,337 NFTs nowadays for a collection is nothing. Like that's a really small, like when you got 10,000 item collections and stuff coming out, that's really small. But as far as what they bring and the customization and stuff, it makes more sense to have a smaller NFT minting for sure per per car type, because you don't want 10,000 of these cars out there. It's just going to dilute the value of them, and the amount of upgradable layers and things that you would have to do for 10,000 would just be absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it'll blow the scope up. And yeah, like you said, having a product out, we're very confident that if we put the car out first and then do an IDO, it will help the IDO, right? People would have seen the product and seen what we bring to the table and be more willing to, participate in the funding round. So yeah, it adds up very nicely if you release the K2 first.
Awesome. I know, like, another thing that I was talking with another project about, these upgradable customized NFTs, is the rarities and things like that. So are you going to have different levels where, say, if someone upgrades to a certain point, like they can't add anything else to their car, like that's like considered like a supercar of the supercars kind of thing? Are there going to be different tiers for the upgrades like that?
So at the moment, this is still being discussed. We want to preserve, sorry, the rarity of our 1,337. So on initial mint, everyone would have a unique car to themselves. Now, with the upgrades that we plan to introduce, we don't plan to allow users to upgrade backwards, meaning if you mint a certain background, you most likely have, like, you wouldn't be able to get a different background from the initial 5 backgrounds that we're releasing, and so on. Now, to address your question, one of the ways that we discussed doing this is perhaps looking into not releasing a high volume of certain upgrades, just to make sure that it becomes very difficult to copycat someone else.
For sure. Things like paint colors and stuff like that, you could have a larger amount of, but things like, really high powered engines, or, crazy spoilers or things like that could be a lot more rare, which would make people, want to seek them out more, and would cause floor prices for cars that have these to go up and things like that. It's more of a rarity hunting game for a lot of people in the NFT space.
You want to tell them about the spoilers, Khalaf? So we actually do have, different rarities where you can get cooler or different spoilers across different cars already with the initial launch. Yeah.
Exactly. So the picture that I've released is actually one of the more rarer cars. It features like an orange headlight as well as a unique spoiler. Those ones wouldn't be as common as the initial K2. However,
So
with
your
our sorry, go on.
So your initial mint, so if I was to come in and mint one of these, the initial mint is a random roll of the different the different features for the car, and then I can upgrade from there, but I can't degrade. So there's a chance I could technically mint an NFT to begin with these rare parts already on them.
100%.
Yeah, so I
Now,
think
like
what he's saying is like the backgrounds, for example, like whatever NFTs release as upgrades, they'll be unique as well. So like you can't get these backgrounds from like later on, right? You can't get to the same backgrounds if you didn't initially get them, I think is the key point here.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. I love that idea too of you never know, it's the luck of the draw, right? It's like you have all these different NFT series out there that have like, their legendary versions, with gold skins and things like that people really, get lucky and just, have somebody comes in and goes, oh, I'm just going to mint one of these, and boom, next thing you know, they minted like, a rank 2 or 3 NFT, and it's just like, wow, crazy. So it's cool to see that customization, but that randomness is still behind it, that not everyone's going to start off with like just a base stock car and all have to build the same way.
So something that we worked extremely hard on is making sure that every thing that we mint, so every mint from the initial 1,337 are stunning and beautiful, because again, it's a low volume collection, like you mentioned earlier. So I think that regardless of what a user ends up minting, they will be very happy with it. It's just that some users will get luckier with a more rare color that wouldn't be as available, or like we mentioned, a slightly different package that isn't that, like, for instance, is only available in like 100 or 200 of overall NFTs. So yeah, but everyone will be very happy with what they end up getting.
So you said earlier about you'll be upgrading your performance of your vehicle. So would I assume that these vehicles are and NFTs are also going to come along with some kind of like ranking card or something saying, you know, how many horsepower and top speed and things like that?
So Omar, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe all of these stats will be actually modeled on chain.
Yeah. So every car will have a set of stats. We have the initial stats or the main stats. I think on our card, we released like a picture of our card earlier, without the numbers. So just which stats we're going to be showing initially, and those can be, you know, we're going to add over time. But horsepower, torque, certain stats for the wheel as well, for the car height, car weight, all will be included as well. So when you upgrade something, it reflects accurately on your stats as well, which is something we need for the game, right? This allows us then to load these cars into the game and race and, you know, have our stats reflected in the game.
Yeah, I was going to just say that those stats would definitely be very usable for a game developer for things like, you know, if a car goes over a jump, if it has more horsepower and it's lighter, it's going to go farther than a car that maybe weighs more with the same horsepower. So yeah, I could definitely see how that stuff would definitely make a difference in a game type series for sure.
Yeah.
So
The
now,
goal.
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, really quickly, just to add to that, the goal with the car is we want to model it correctly. So we want to model a car, you know, with the correct stats that it needs to be a car, like the real life stats, right? And we can encode all those very efficiently on chain. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to have like a very nice structure for our manifest or our document and store as rich of a manifest as we can to support what we need.
Awesome. That sounds pretty neat. I know like customizable NFTs are definitely going to be something that a lot more projects are probably going to bring to the future once they see exactly what you're able to do with these. Because I can't think of any other chain right now that's offering this kind of structure for NFTs. Now it's like you were saying, it's not fully developed yet inside Marmalade, but it is in the pipeline. So it'll be very interested to see how long that pipe actually is until it's in Marmalade, knowing the Kadena team is, you know, very busy, but hopefully they can get that working, because it seems like there's a lot of big projects that really are just hungry to utilize this.
Yeah, and then like I said, we are going to release like a fork of Marmalade with this functionality, but it will be like very initial. You know, you mint with our ledger at your own risk. But yeah, we're not going to wait, because that's potentially too long. It's too big of a risk, right? We're going to implement our own version of that. And then the biggest risk there is like one key part about upgradability. And if you read, I think the paper that Stuart Hayward published, is that what matters a lot in how you store them is how you do those upgrades. So you need to have a uniform way to transform your document. And we don't understand what Marmalade's uniform way will be because it's too early, right? Like, for example, you can modify certain JSON keys at this level of the document. That's an example. So not knowing that means we can't build anything around upgradability until Marmalade's done, which just doesn't work for us. So yeah, we're going to fork in our own ledger. You know, you can mint there and do upgrades there. If you don't want to wait, you're welcome to do that.
That's awesome. So these people, when they come to your platform, they're going to be able to like pretty much log in, I assume, through their wallet, and then that'll pull their NFT information. They'll be able to then choose their upgrades and things like that based on, you know, if they have enough of your tokens or whatever to purchase the different upgrades. Now, is there going to be any kind of way for them to? Now, you said they're not downgradable, so people won't be able to, say, sell upgrades on the secondary market. They're not going to be a separate thing. It's all going to be inclusive.
Oh, no. They like the NFTs will be modeled separately. So yes, you can sell upgrades on the secondary market, potentially. Right now, we don't have a plan to like lock that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Khalaf, but like, yeah, it's like upgrades. If you like buy an upgrade, you can sell it on a secondary market. If you win an upgrade from a race, right? Like, there are competitive modes where you can get prizes. So let's say you win a, I don't know, rare engine. you could sell that on a secondary market. You don't need to necessarily apply it to your car.
100%.
When you apply it to your car, then that's something different. Yeah, but you don't need to apply it. You can just sell it if you win something.
Awesome. So if someone say won an upgrade they already have, then they can go ahead and just turn around and sell it.
Exactly.
And then
awesome. That's going to open up a whole nother market.
Yep.
And then that's the thing. Like one of the things that we were discussing when we wanted to actually release an NFT project, and we saw what Kadena could do, is we were discussing like how can we allow the user to kind of become the maker of his own NFT. So today, I think, the majority of the NFTs that you buy, that's it. Is it like once you buy or mint the NFT, you are stuck with whatever it is that you have. Our projects is going to allow you to add your own personal touch, add your own customizations, add your own creative touch to it as well. And then you can obviously then use that as a leeway or like a segue for you to then go and then sell that for a higher value. So it is another way for you to trade cars and make money by adding some additional artistic value or performance related value that someone else wouldn't have been able to do on his own, or may have not been as lucky to get these upgrades or model that you were able to get through Mint.
Now, you said you can win upgrades through this competitive mode. Will there be, now without getting too much into your tokenomics of your token, any way to earn the tokens within your platform, or will they just be a buy tokens kind of thing?
So without getting into too much, the idea is there's going to be two game modes, an offline and an online game mode. Online game mode is kind of where the real play to earn is. It's going to be a way for you to race against other users and make money, and that money is going to be, it's still being discussed, but that money is going to be value. It's going to be like of value, whether it's through our token or a sub token or whatnot. That's still being discussed. And then the offline mode is going to allow you basically to earn, so the offline mode is basically going to allow you to practice the game. It's going to allow you to get familiar with the game. You'd be able to race against bots, and you'd be able to participate in certain challenges or events that we're running. And then from there, you would have an opportunity based on your performance to, win add-ons, and these add-ons could come as in the form of a upgrade in performance or an upgrade in like a visual perspective.
Awesome. I know that people love the whole, win something for their time kind of thing. So it's good to hear that you got kind of a two different modes where people can either just play casually and get to enjoy the game, or people who actually want to compete and play within it. So it's very different thinking, I believe, than a lot of projects right now on Kadena. And the fact that you guys are going to be jumping ahead and just utilizing everything that Marmalade has to offer and throwing your own little tweaks in sounds pretty amazing, because I know right now it's like you said, it's a lot of projects want to utilize this stuff, but it's just not quite ready yet. But I'm sure that if you guys were to release and things were to work out really great, then maybe you'll become the leaders of the pact leaders of the pact, I guess, is kind of a bit of a pun there, but when it comes to Marmalade, because I know, like I said, it's definitely a very unique code, and something that a lot of projects are going to be able to do a lot of really cool stuff with. Now, when it comes to racing these cars in your games, there's not going to be any way that you could, say, destroy your car or lose your upgrades or anything like that. That's not going to be something to worry about.
That's not planned at the moment anyway.
No. So just to add really quickly, there is a race that we are potentially planning, which is stuff around like pink slip racing, where you can wager your car in the race, but it will be like a very specific game mode of its own, right? It's not going to be you don't have to go into that race. But yeah, pink slip racing is something we're discussing, but we could support, but it'll be its own game mode, which again means that you wager your car, winner takes the car.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting, and definitely something that some people would be very interesting to try, but probably regretful when they do.
I would not try it. I would not try it, man. But yeah,
That could be
that's
something,
modeled on chain. So like you have an escrow, and like it's on chain fully, and like you do it through that. But yeah, I would not try that. Just being honest. But yeah, there are
So
modes that we could support like that. It's easy, and like down the future, just like hint at a small, long term, project we are working on, which is like mint erase. So like you could potentially encode everything you want in a race on chain through like a smart contract, right, or an NFT itself. So the race will be an NFT, and then someone can come buy the NFT, customize his race. In that race, he can put like wagers, he can put like different conditions, and you can race on that, based on the policy or race policy. That's something we were definitely at least thinking of right now, and it gives like, for you to basically make your own custom races, enforced on chain. Yep.
So, like the idea that we have with KadCars, honestly, is we wanted to make an ecosystem, that's friendly to all users, and at the same time gives you a variety of options, whether it's race, upgrade, or as Omar mentioned, the mint your own race, which kind of allows you kind of to be in the shoes of let's say, a game developer.
Yep. And it's kind of
Now,
like
when it
workshop
comes,
mode
go
on
ahead.
like CSGO. It's kind of like workshop mode. You can imagine like workshop mode on any of these big games like CSGO, where you make your own like room and you can play in those conditions.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of definitely be interesting to see then what comes out of the community and what they build, because I know that's like Super Mario Builder, like they've come out with some of the craziest levels you've ever seen from people designing them themselves. So people love to do things like that and design these courses, and just it'd be very interesting, like I said, to see what people come up with, and then two, to see what kind of cars people are going to come up with. I'm very interested to see, like it's going to depend on your luck at the mint, and then your dedication after that on how you build your car. Now, for people that are wanting to get in on this, have you guys started collecting white lists and started building up a community and a repertoire that way?
So yes, we have. We've been giving out whitelists during different competitions. At the moment, one of the popular competitions we have going on is tied behind Formula One. There's about, I'd say, 10 races left on the calendar this year. So if you guess the correct place of the drivers, or at least two of the three drivers, you win a whitelist. Other times it's just tuning into Twitter spaces that we do, you can win a whitelist, and so on. So we've already had, I believe, over 200 whitelist winners, and we're still planning on growing that number. And then for the
Awesome.
community, we obviously have like the Twitter. We are on Discord. You can find our Discord through our profile on Twitter. Like the link is there. And so yeah.
Awesome. I know that too. Maybe a YouTube channel would be neat to see once the game gets more into develop, for little kind of sneak peeks of the game and stuff. But I know that's probably way down the road at this point. So, but definitely would be something interesting to see, little demo versions. Are you guys going to be offering any beta testing and anything in the future for once that gets to that point?
Yeah, so we have now two roles on our Discord, and we're gonna get beta testers from those roles. So we have Champion and Pioneer, and our beta testers will come through those roles. They'll get a first peek into our game and get to beta test it with us.
Now, I'm assuming this is going to be a PC game to begin with. No plans on going mobile or anything.
Not for now. Yeah, for now it's gonna be PC based.
Yeah, because I'm sure like mobile is one thing, but when you're playing a racing game or something like that, it's not really ideal, especially like you have to have controls on screen and things like that. It just never really works out great, I find.
Yeah, you don't
But
get the full
no,
experience,
yeah, you got to have like at the very least maybe a browser-based game, but I don't even think a browser-based game could do what you want it to do. And if it did, it would be very slow, depending on your internet speeds.
browser-based is hard because of internet speeds and the fact that like the browser is limited because of threading and other issues on browser. So yeah, it's probably going to be, or I should say it's going to be a PC-based game. Mobile game, I'm not sure if we will support that, but potentially, we're open to everything, but it's just not the right fit for a racing game. So yeah, PC is the coolest, we think. If you have, if anyone here has preference to a certain platform, we're open to hear, what you think. That'll be PC.
So we have talked about allowing users to access their car via mobile application, but that would be to do like either apply certain tasks or upgrades onto the car or whatnot, but it would most likely like the whole racing potentially on mobile could come in later, much later on as an arcade version of the game.
First, before a mobile version like that would come along, I'm assuming then you would need a mobile wallet supporting NFTs that could interact with your game. So that is another hurdle, but hopefully something like that will be coming out soon. So
I think XWallet is about to or recently released their mobile app. So hopefully that's out soon. They have XWallet mobile, I think now or soon.
as far as I know, though, it's not compatible with like I'm not sure if it'll pull your NFT data or not, the mobile wallet. I know you could probably connect through the desktop extension wallet, but no, don't quote me. I'm not exactly certain, but
yeah, I see your point. It's not going to pull your NFTs for. You're not going to have that in the X wallet. So yeah, hopefully another project will build it for mobile. But yeah, immediate plans don't include that for mobile right now.
Awesome. I know I'll definitely be keeping track because I always love testing out new games. I was a gamer for many years and had a Twitch channel and all that kind of stuff. So, have a PC gaming rig and all that kind of stuff. It's a little outdated now, but it has a pretty good high-end i5 in it and a good graphics card. So, it'll still push things.
That's nice. All of us, I believe, on the team are PC gamers. Some of us have built our own PCs, Omar. Others are like we have stock PCs. But honestly, something just to touch on, I know most of the community probably already knows this, but it's probably the coolest thing that the NFT world allows us to do is when you have a racing game, you don't really own much. So if you're playing a Gran Turismo, a Mario Kart, Forza Motorsport, you don't actually own the asset that you're driving. It's at the end of the day, it's owned by the game. Versus in the NFT world, you are the owner of your car, and the doors of revenue and the streams of revenue that opens up is just amazing. That's what's making this NFT world so popular. It's just that you now have the ability to own an asset that you wouldn't have been able to own, or maybe have had or it wouldn't have been as accessible for you to own in the real world. So that's honestly something that I feel like is going to really push NFTs forward once people start to recognize how to utilize their ownership.
Yeah, because ownership rights is definitely a huge thing, and when you tie that into a video game, that can bring along, like you said, open up a whole different wave of directions that you can go. Like if it was to take off now, is there any thought of with this game, unless you own the NFT and have minted an NFT, are you going to have any access to the game at all without it? Like, so if someone just found your game and was interested in trying it, is there going to be like a base in the game kind of car that they could race around?
Amar, do you want to take this? All right, one second.
Yeah, voice is cutting. Sorry, I just heard my name. Can you repeat
the question for him?
The question, please?
Yeah, of course. So when it comes to the actual game itself, will there be an option for anyone to play it that doesn't own an NFT, an actual KadCar NFT, just like a base kind of trial, maybe demo version or something like that, without having to actually pay to play?
We're considering it because of the volume, right? We only have 1,337. But for initial launch, you can assume no. Initially, you can assume no, but we are considering it given that we're only releasing 1,337. We're also considering other models where you own a CAD car and you can rent it out for others to use as well. Like you can rent out for this wallet to be able to use your CAD car in a race and play with it potentially, right? Or in offline mode. But initially, it'll be like, no, to play, you need to own a CAD car.
And just to add to that, when Omar says 1,337, he's referring to the K2. And then obviously there's going to be the K1. Just to give a brief introduction on the K1 is modeled behind a supercar. So we have a off-roader car and a supercar. Both of those are going to interact differently based on how you like. Obviously, the driving capabilities of both are going to be slightly different. But yeah, at the end of the day, we do have a limited number of seats available, and that has caused like the question to be asked: and how are we going to allow users to play the game? It's kind of still being debated.
Now, is there going to be any kind of rewards for people who mint in the first collection, like an automatic whitelist for future collections if you hold one of the K2s?
Yep. So we details are on the Medium article. But yeah, if you get a K2, you get whitelisted for the K1 and future collections. And if you get a K1, same thing. So the perks around owning a K1 and K2 are powerful. But perks of owning, like I said previously, like a non-K car, you don't get these same benefits of like whitelisting to other collections.
Awesome, because I know a lot of people, that's something that they definitely consider when it comes to minting is, what are the future benefits that come along with this? If the project's planning on doing multiple collections or multiple runs, people want to make sure that since they were there at the very start that they get all the perks and blah, blah, blah. So it's good to hear that you're thinking that forward as well. If there's anyone, that's pretty much all the questions that I had for you guys tonight. I don't know if there's any alpha that you guys want to let go or anything like that before we maybe open it up for questions from the listeners.
We're good. We're kind of excited to see if anyone has any questions. There's no stupid questions, so please feel free to ask anything.
Yep, just feel free to send in a request to speak, and we will definitely get you up here to ask. I know I'm definitely going to be following along. I'm not a car guy myself, but I am a huge fan of NFTs, and especially ones that are going to be customizable, like I said, are going to be a huge section of NFTs in the future once people catch on to what you can do with them. And I'm very excited to see what you guys build. And video gaming as well is definitely, another way that Web3 is moving towards is to gamify things. And racing games are always going to be a staple. So very excited.
So we had a few questions directly on the link that you've tweeted. So there is by Real Lewis M. He's asking, is every car a unique mint? Yes. So every car that you mint from us will have a distinctive, unique feature to it. Like we mentioned earlier, there's going to be multiple layers. And then there's a question about the price of the mint. The price of the mint is going to be competitive. It's not going to be something that is, unreachable or kind of unprecedented in the Kadena community, but it will be competitive based on like the prices that you guys have seen so far in the Kadena community. Omar, if you have more details on price, you can jump in. But
Yeah. Can you hear me okay at least now?
Much better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the price, we'll announce price within 2 weeks of mint. So we don't want to announce price too early. So within 2 weeks of mint, we'll announce price, but it will be something, that we think you can afford, right? It depends on like our whitelist and our audience. So hopefully it'll be something fair, and I don't think people will have issues with it, but we'll announce it 2 weeks before mint.
Awesome. So we had a few people step up. Sarah, you stepped up first. So if you feel like joining in and asking your question, feel free to go right ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Loud and clear.
Hear you great.
Hello, hi. Yeah, the project sounds so exciting, super excited. Just have a quick question about the backgrounds. Can you tell us a bit more about the backgrounds? I saw the tweet that you posted. It looked really cool. Do you have any other backgrounds that you're going to be releasing as well?
Great question. So, as you can see, the background that we've tweeted is like, for instance, a beach background. There's some cool Easter eggs, like you can see like a Kadena beach on the back, the tire prints on the sand. We really focused on the lighting and how it reflects on the car and whatnot. The other backgrounds that we've made, so we have 5 unique backgrounds. One is a snowy, mountainy background. Another is in a cave with good lighting, I promise. The third is a server room. That one's actually going to be very cool. I can't give a little more, like hopefully down the line I'll be able to give a little more detail, but the car is parked in a server room. The beach I've mentioned, and then finally we have a background on a rooftop. The rooftop background is our only nighttime background. So that is, it kind of sets it apart, and it's kind of unique in that way.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, they sound very interesting.
They do.
Noah, you stepped up as well. Feel free to go ahead with your question.
Hello. What's up, guys? Hope you're doing all great.
Hey, Noah. How are you?
I'm doing great. So first of all, this space got me so excited. Finally, I heard some new exciting news from you guys, and can't wait. And now to my question. So I've been playing some Need for Speed and another car game which I can't remember the name of, and so in Need for Speed, it's the drifting and driving is a little bit more unrealistic, but let's say for me a little bit more fun, because you can drift a lot better than in some other games. So my question was how this is gonna be in KadCars, and how drifting and everything is going to vary. So is it going to be more realistic, or is it gonna be more like Need for Speed, for example?
So what we're going for is a balanced experience. So I believe like Need for Speed, for instance, when you hit a drift, sometimes it kind of gives you points or allows you to like stack up like nitro, which kind of pushes your car forward or accelerates your car forward. So at the moment, like Omar said, we're still in the design phase, but it's meant to be in the middle. So something that does allow you to drift and have fun, and at the same time is more realistic than fake. However, we don't want it to be that kind of game where if you crash into a wall, your race is done or you've heavily damaged your car. If you've played Forza, I think Forza kind of gives you a balance between the arcadiness and the realisticness of a game versus, let's say, Assetto Corsa or Formula One games where the damage directly, heavily impacts your performance and steering of a car. So hopefully that kind of explains.
Perfect. Thank you.
Most welcome.
Yeah, there's a fine line between realistic and just, cartoony. I remember growing when I was younger, one of the racing games I used to play on my Nintendo 64 was Cruising World. And they would just like, you'd go off the map or crash or something and your car just flips back over on its wheels and keeps going. It's like,
I mean, that's what's fun sometimes, like that's the thing.
You got to find that line though, right?
So honestly, I don't know. So I've played almost every racing game out there, or at least most of the different kinds of racing games out there. And the ones that are on the extreme realistic end of the spectrum usually involve like a very strong amount of precision, and then it kind of takes away the not competitive, but it takes away the wheel to wheel racing aspect that kind of makes games fun, and it goes into a lot of the perfecting each lap and gaining by like a few tenths of a second on each lap in order to make it to your next competitor. So that's the issue with these super realistic games. We want our game to be a lot more fast-paced, a lot more wheel-to-wheel action. It's not going to be extremely realistic, but at the same time, it will maintain realism.
Awesome. Yeah, it's like I said, it's that fine line, but sounds like you guys have a good background on racing games to understand that what that line is. So
Yeah.
we had K Australia here join up for a question, so feel free to go ahead and say your question.
Morning, everyone. The integration with other NFT projects. I think you said in an AMA a while ago that you're looking to integrate with other people.
That's correct.
Yeah. So first of all, we're working with Mock, which is one of our favorite projects. I think we announced recently that we'll be on the Mock metaverse. So that's one of the first, I guess you can call integrations with other projects. Second is one of our upgrades in the future will be to attach racers to your car. And the way we're trying to model that is that we're trying to make it as open as possible so that you can add potentially an NFT you want on Kadena as like a racer on your car. Those kind of are the two biggest integrations, but we're also working with Flux, which is technically an NFT project. Through Flux, you have a lot of projects that you get to work on in the future. And we also are hoping to work with, or are going to be working with KadenaEcosystem in the future as well, to implement, certain types of races, like betting races over KadCars. That's something we are planning for as well. So it's really open because of our use case. We have a lot of potential to easily work with other projects, and I think we're going to take every chance we get because the projects on Kadena are absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Now, would these projects then have to have 3D models of their NFTs?
Very good question. So, no, we do have, or we did design for 2D, upgrades. Like our car is 3D, right? Let's say you wanted to add in something that is 2D. You can add it as like a frame on the corner. That's one functionality we are supporting. So if you really want to add a 2D object to our 3D car, you can add it on the final image, but not into the 3D model. And it will show on your final image as long as it's locked onto your car. But if you have a 3D NFT, then that's a lot easier. You can add it directly to the 3D model, right? And then that's reflected on your final 2D image. So short answer is yes, you can add 2D, but it will be a limited interaction, like on a frame on the left or frame on the bottom of the car. This is like racer, for example.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to have your little mock character standing next to your car or something like that as your driver. Be like that you can, look around him and see him standing there. It'd be very interested to see. But at the same time, it'd be also very interesting to see a 2D like Kadena Bull or something standing there or sitting in the or just kind of like in the window of the driver's seat. So yeah, like the possibilities are definitely there. And I'm sure a lot of these projects will want to do this.
Yeah, and one more thing is like even one thing we plan for is animation, right? So you have some cool NFTs that are 2D and animated. Those two should be able to work with the same.
Awesome, yeah. Animation to a 2D thing is definitely puts it in that kind of like 2.5D realm of like it's almost 3D, but it's not 3D. It's based in 2D world still. So awesome, very interesting to see where this project can go, considering the different integrations that could come along with it as well. If anyone else has any more questions, definitely feel free to step up. But yeah, that was very awesome information. I've definitely learned a lot more about KadCars tonight than I was expecting to. It's definitely a lot more to the project than I expected, and I definitely foresee a very bright future as long as you guys can keep your heads down, keep building, and just keep pushing forward.
Thank you. Honestly, thank you for hosting us. We really appreciate it. And thanks for the community for tuning in. We are very excited for what's to come, honestly. This has been one of the projects where we're doing something that we truly love and we believe in. So it's helped us really put in those long hours and push and grind forward. And then we really cannot wait to start having the community a lot more involved in our project, having their own voice, and just seeing where the community is going to take this forward. Because at the end of the day, we are just, the designers, but the players are the people who are going to be able to push the game forward to the new levels.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. It's definitely when it comes to really any NFT or any project on Kadena, it really is about community, and community on Kadena seems to be just booming right now, and everyone seems to be very helpful and very friendly. So I'm sure you guys will have no problems building. If you haven't need any help, there's always lots of people out there to help, and hopefully once you guys start putting out your cars and start minting and things, that people get behind it and jump on board. I know I for sure will be wanting to grab myself a car and get into the game.
Perfect. And honestly, special thanks to you guys, because the work that you guys are doing, spreading all this information about all the projects that are going around on Kadena, is really going to help everyone like push forward. We've done a few AMAs so far. We've seen the response of the community. Everyone wants to help. Everyone's engaged. Everyone's interested. All the projects that we've spoken to or worked with are super helpful. Everyone's like, trying to push everyone forward rather than having that, let me advance kind of competitive nature. And then just the last thing, like when we first started the project, we were overwhelmed with the support that we got just from random members in the community, whether it was like kind words or inputs or like reaching out and like offering us help. Like it's just been amazing, honestly.
Well, we're happy to help out, and definitely if you guys have any more information or anything you guys ever want to share, definitely reach out to us. We are more than willing to accommodate.
Perfect. Thank you. And then anyone here who would like to know more about our project, please feel free to join our Discord. And we are, like at the moment, all of us are on Discord more or less regularly, and we're available to answer any questions that you have. And by us, I mean like the core team members.
Awesome. Yeah. So guys, make sure you go give them a follow on Twitter. Make sure you guys join their Discord. It's linked on their Twitter account, and get involved and follow along. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming out tonight. Thank you very much, KadCars, for coming and joining and speaking with us. I know that I'm very interested in the project, and definitely you guys have a good game plan set ahead of you, and hopefully everything just comes out to fruition.
Thank you. Hopefully so.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for listening tonight, and hopefully you guys all take care and have a good one. Bye-bye. That wraps up another amazing AMA. Thank you for listening. Here at KPN, we strive to bring an open platform for projects being built on Kadena to present themselves to the community. Please ensure to do your own research on each project before investing. Also, make sure to follow us on our social media, from Twitter to subscribing to our weekly newsletter. All the links can be found directly on our SoundCloud profile page. Thank you very much for listening, and take care.